Hello, I'm Maria from Scola. And today we're a Collegiate Academy for Mathematics and Personal Awareness, also known as CAMPA. And today we're with Mr. Gaston, the Director of Operations here. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, I want to start by asking you, what is the mission of the school and what does it mean to you?
Okay, so it's an interesting question. If you were to look it up, they'll say that it's about mathematics and personal awareness. But what is that, right? So when we envisioned the school, we wanted a school that was not going to prepare, especially in middle school, that's not going to prepare students for just high school, but for college and for life, right? So it was about building skills that they can actually practically use so that they can achieve whatever goals that they wanted to achieve. So this was a lot of research. I've been in education for over 20 years. And so there are some commonalities and some foundational things that we know are necessary. We focused on mathematics because traditionally, at least recently, students of color don't really perform well in mathematics. However, the reality is, any student who's able to at least take calculus by reaching high school is more likely to, exponentially, more likely to perform well in college and to graduate from college. So it was obvious that we needed to have a foundation in math. It also helped that we love math and science, right? The personal awareness part is something that we already know. Everyone speaks a lot about the whole child, right? And educating the whole child. But what does that really mean? For us, it means actually caring about children. You have to not just educate their minds, but you gotta educate their souls, right? So you gotta get them to understand who they are, where they're going in life, what do they want to achieve, and basic things. Are they okay? The major obstacles to education, and I always think about education this way, why is it not successful? But the major obstacles to education is not education. It's all the other issues and concerns in life, right? And so a lot of our students, especially in the East New York community, they're suffering from non-education, non-scholastic matters, right? Hunger, violence, all these other things that's distracting them and hindering their ability to perform well in the classroom. We don't ignore those things because, see, my teachers, we are all educators, but our education is to also tackle those concerns. You can't teach a child if they're hungry.
Definitely.
You really can't teach a child if they've already come to you believing that they can't do that subject. I'm never good at math, is what they'll say, so I can't do it. Or science is not my thing. I don't know what that means yet, but it's not my thing, so I can't do that. You have to tackle all of those issues in order for them to be successful. And so for us, personal awareness means whole child, means that I care about you. So I want to know what's going on in your world, and I want to help you tackle those issues so that you can be successful. I want to know what hopes and dreams your parents have. At CAMPA, we really know our children. To educate children, you have to love them, for real. Not just say it, but do it. You have to love the child that gives you the most problems in the class. Because my teachers, entire school, we don't look at children where they are. When I see a child, I actually see them 10, 20, 30 years into the future. And quite honestly, you never know what a child is going to be. You never know what a person's going to develop into, right? So our job is to give them everything that they need, whether they ask for it or not, whether it's part of our job description or not. Give them everything that they need so that they can be the best them, right? And so we have to know them. You gotta know them, you gotta know their families, you gotta know their issues and their concerns and their fears and their hopes, and you have to tend to those things. Once you do that, and they understand that you're really genuinely here for them, because our kids know that. They know that no matter how much we yell at them, no matter how much we push them, how much we annoy them, and we do, they know that we're doing it with one thing in mind. One, scholastically, they're gonna be the best, and two, they're gonna be able to achieve whatever it is they choose to achieve. Our aim is absolutely for everybody to go to college.
And we're joined now by Principal Leonard. Thank you so much for having us.
That was my pleasure. Glad you're here.
I think it's amazing the great work that you do to empower students to go beyond high school to their future. But right now, I wanted to ask you, what makes CAMPA so special? 3 things that make it special.
Well, if I was to list them, and I think it might be the best way so that I can stay focused on each one individually. I would start with caring enough so that the children feel that they're at home and they get the love that you normally get at home. So I think the commitment and the caring for a child is ideal for a school to really be efficient in doing its job. A child has to be comfortable. So we got to set the right stage for a child's comfort. And you can't fool children. They know when you're fake. And if any child can judge an adult, that's the child that you need to listen to, because their assessment of adults are greater than adults' assessments of adults. So that means you got to give them a voice. So besides setting the comfortable setting and making it conducive for learning, you have to give the child a voice so that they understand that they're being respected and that their word means something. Because the best person that can design a school is a child, first of all. Adults, they spend a lot of time messing it up because they're not looking at the child's perspective. And things have changed over the years. So, again, I would go back to setting. The comfortable setting is not conventional. And I only hire those teachers that exactly know how it feels to be loved when you're learning. Because a lot of the teachers are my former students, and they remember how I was with them when they were at this age. So I make sure that the school has staff that is familiar with my style, because it's not really conventional, and sometimes it's criticized, but because I get the job done, I don't get too much pushback because of the outcome. And my outcomes have been very strong since 1981. And you can imagine how many students I've been through over those years. So it's easy to recruit the right staff for this school with that vision of making a child feel that you are committed and that you're not fake. The other piece that makes it special is, of course, the academic scheme. The academic course of study here is very rigorous and can be very complex. But anything that's complex, it's easy to really explain complex principles when you have a bench where you could pull different modalities and different approaches to explaining material. You cannot think that there's one way to explain any subject that fits a class. So you have to be able to change your approach and your explanation of a concept so that it reaches all of them. So to say it's interdisciplinary and you're able to reach everybody because it's differentiated instruction. The other factor that's real important is the parent. Selling the parents. Having the parents believe in what you're saying and believe in what you're doing. And for a parent, the quick way to achieve that is by showing student success. Now, what does that look like? Parent engagement in a school is paramount to a school becoming successful. You cannot run a school without the parents. And if you feel that you can isolate them because you don't want to hear their complaints or their feedback because it makes you feel inadequate, then that's a losing proposition, because the parent is a major factor in a school's success. Most of my success since 1981 has been based on my ability to embrace the parent and have the parent part of the formula for educating a child. And we meet with the parents twice a month for a whole school year. And it makes them feel like they have a voice. So you got the student voice, the parent voice, of course the teacher voice. And when you bring all that together, infuse it into one big chain, all you have is a whole ball of success that can then just roll down the hill and just get bigger like in a snowstorm.
And what makes this community here at CAMPA so unique?
We're them, right? So when I look at them and I say I also look at them into the future, I also look at them and I see me, right? So I'm originally from Bedford-Stuyvesant, So my community is very similar to this community. And I was that student. I was that distracted student when I was younger. I was homeless. You know, my mom, I come from a single family home, my mother raising me and my 2 sisters. And she did the best that she could, right, for us. But sometimes doing that best came up short, very much like what they're going through, right? I lived in a community that was riddled with drugs and violence. Gunshots was a normal thing for us. Sometimes, for some crickets going to sleep, for us, it was gunshots going to sleep. And that exposure to all those negative influences that my students go through every day, that was me, right? And so it also helped. It helps me and it helps my staff and my teachers on how we address them, because we know them. We're not foreign to them. So being able to relate to what they're going through and to their experiences helps us to shape how to get them out of those circumstances.
That is wonderful. So now, Principal, can you talk to me about the teaching and the learning style here at CAMPA?
It's very unconventional in that I expect more from a teacher than you would normally find in certain middle schools. And that's because I don't believe in a teacher teaching blind. I believe that they should know where each child is within an understanding of any curriculum. And I have this thing that's called the invisible child. The invisible child, the invisible student, is a student who's in the classroom, scores, between 70, 75, and that child can get lost in a school year because he's not the best, or she's not the best, or not the worst. They're right in the middle. So I believe that the teaching style here has to be a modality that recognizes all the students and is able to assess what needs to be done each day based on student feedback each lesson. So if they have 5 classes, that means that they're going to need the feedback from each student, from each class every day. So I designed the modality so that what you teach the day before connects with the day that I see you and setting up the day after. So it has to be where whenever you're teaching, what you did before that, what you're doing after that is seamless, so that the child is with you every step of the way as you're teaching them for the next 10 months.
That's amazing. And you just learn from each other. You learn from the students, you get the feedback, and then you apply it into the classroom.
Now you said something very interesting that not a lot of people miss. The best teacher, trainer, is the student, because they will let you know how good you are by their grades. So it's nonverbal. Look at the test results. That's your rating.
Well, Professor
Professor, like...
I suppose I'm a real professor now, aren't I?
She's calling it. She's calling it. That's really what it is.
Mr. Gaston, can you tell us where can families find more information about CAMPA?
There are several ways that you can reach us. So you can go to our website at www.campacharter.org, CAMPA charter.org, or you can email us at info@campacharter.org, or you can call us directly at 347-619-6800.
Great. Or you can also visit scola.com to find more information about CAMPA. Well, Mr. Gaston, thank you so much for having us today.
Oh, it's been great.
And I will see you all at the next school. Bye.